My Hero Academia, Chapter 245, Uprising. So this was a very exciting chapter. A lot of developments and a huge bombshell at the end. Quite a few things to talk about, so let's get into it. So it's picking up where the previous chapter left off, with Hawks giving Endeavor the Liberation Manifesto and still dropping subtle hints as to what he wants him to figure out. And I really like how he seals the deal with like that deadpan expression. It's like, look, I'm serious about this. You're going to have to read between the lines here and figure out what I'm saying. There's more to this than what, is actually going on here. And because he can't just straight up say what he wants, because he is being surveilled by Skeptic and the rest of the Paranormal Liberation Front. We actually see the little cameras in this chapter that are like attached to his wings. But we already knew that he was being like a surveillance device a few chapters back when it was revealed by Skeptic, and when he tells Slide and Go to get out of here. He's giving us vital intel and stuff that you can't even give us. So I also like how Izuku immediately asks for one of the manifestos, because it's typically something that he would do. I mean, if Hawks has such interest in this and they're all fascinated by the number 2 hero except Bakugo, it's natural that they're going to want it, including Shoto. And he does give all of them, even Bakugo, one of the manifestos. And I think this is going to give them an entry into this whole big storyline, because we know that the pro heroes are involved in it, and definitely Endeavor now, but the students not so much. They're not really privy as to what's going on. So I assume that either Shoto or Izuku is going to do the same thing that Endeavor is doing in this chapter, reading the highlighted portions and reading between the lines and figuring out what the big picture is here, like what Hawks is really trying to get across. So maybe they either work together when they're reading it and they figure it out and they're like, oh my god, I can't believe this is what it was all about. This is serious. We gotta tell somebody. And then maybe it's like a whisper down the lane type situation where they relay the information to people that they shouldn't possibly, or they try to take matters into their own hands, like what happened back in Kamino when Bakugo was taken. I can see that happening for sure. And I also feel that probably Shoto is more likely to figure this out than Izuku, but like I said, they could also work together. But, Shoto has been shown to be more adept in that area than the other students have. So then it cuts to Endeavor's hero agency, and we're seeing his sidekicks again, which is pretty cool. I like these characters, and I think they were first introduced back in Chapter 203 during the joint training arc, when Endeavor's trying to get in touch with Shoto, but he's ignoring him, and we see at least the bandaged-faced dude and the guy with the headpiece that kind of resembles Yamato's from Naruto. They were at least in those chapters. But as for the other ones, I don't think we've seen them yet. Especially this new female hero by the name of Burning, and she's pretty cool. It looks like her quirk probably involves like her hair being fire. Maybe it's similar to Shiozaki's like vines, but instead of like vines, she uses it in like a Endeavor type way. Like she could just shoot fire from her hair, but only from there, and manipulate it accordingly, I suppose. So then it cuts to Endeavor, and he's having like his own little awesome Death Note moment, where he's like recounting all of his memories with Hawks and trying to figure out what exactly he was saying through his mannerisms and stuff. And then he's reading the Liberation Manifesto at the same time, and he's looking at the highlighted parts, and then he realizes that the second words in each sentence reveal the message of what Hawks was actually trying to say. And I can't wait to see this in the anime, because they're really going to make this sequence pretty cool. Like I said, it kind of reminds me of like what we saw a lot in Death Note. Can't wait to just see that, hear that epic music playing over this montage of Endeavor figuring things out, putting all of the pieces together. This will probably be like, what, season 6 or something like that. We'll get it in like 2 to 3 years possibly, but still, very cool moment here. So then it cuts to Hawks back at the Paranormal Liberation Front, like round table, I guess, of all of the main members. And we see Gigantomachia there, and it looks like he has some new gear on him. Definitely supplied by the Detonarak Company. But this is just like overkill, because Gigantomachia is already one of the strongest, if not the strongest character right now. So him getting a buff with some new added gear is just a little too much. But hey, why not? So then we see him like just basically rendezvousing with them, letting them know that everything's going smoothly and that he's been spreading the word and everything. And another thing is that they notice that Izuku, Bakugo, and Todoroki are doing an internship with Endeavor. We see like a little cute moment with Toga like noticing that Izuku was there. So then Hawks is excused to leave by re-destro, and once he's outside of the room, he reveals that he can hear pretty much anything in the nearby vicinity by the vibrations in the air by using his wings. And we already kind of knew he could do something like this back in the Pro Hero arc when his abilities were explained. But I think that this is being specifically explained here because before, I'm pretty sure it was through the feathers in the wind where he was able to hear things and the vibrations and stuff in the air. But now that he's saying it's his wings, like he doesn't need to spread out his feathers anymore, possibly, or at least if he's in a close vicinity. Because he's also saying that he's still training, which is good because he's going to need all the strength that he can get, because we could assume that something big is going to happen soon and that Hawks is going to be a primary target in all of this. But anyway, he's eavesdropping all of them using his wings, and some huge info is revealed here. So it says that once Tomura obtains his quote-unquote power, will finally be ready. And then in 4 months, everything will be destroyed. But we're also seeing that Endeavor was also relayed this information, so we're kind of getting like skewed timelines here, which is very cool. And this is, like I said, huge. So what does this mean? Well, let's start with the power that Tomura is going to receive. So this could be a few things. So first of all, our minds go to All for One. And I'll get to that, but I just want to first touch on that it could be the Nomus that Yujiko is developing, the high-end Nomus. It's possible that they're still not ready yet. They still could be in development because the only reason he gave Dabi the original high-end Nomu back in the Pro Hero arc was to test him. So either it wasn't up to his standards yet, or he feels that they should be in the oven a little more, you know. That's a possibility that it might take 4 months for them, and then once they get the high-end Nomus out, ready to go, then pretty much no one could stop them because just, you know, as we saw, one high-end Nomu, debatably not even ready, took both Endeavor and with the assistance of Hawks, like extremely high diff just to take it down. So maybe that's what they're talking about. Another thing is that we just don't know what this power is yet, because when Yujiko is talking to Tomura, like back in chapter, I think it's like 222, he says, but the plan was always to help you out, and these little ones are the first thing. The little ones are referring to the high-end Nomus still in their tanks. And then he says, as well as some research I've put together, all to give you power. But I can't give you that second thing yet, because without a doubt, you're all weak. You need to prove yourselves first. And then he says, you need to go on to defeat Gigantomachia and make him submit to you. And then everything I have will be yours as you see fit. So either the second thing, the quote-unquote research, is Gigantomachia, because it was also revealed in the new data book that just came out for My Hero that Gigantomachia does have multiple quirks, which kind of conflicts with what the information that we got before. So either he is talking about Gigantomachia and he modified him through research or something, which obviously is true, but I think the research might be something that we don't know about yet. Maybe it's something else, or maybe it lines up with the All for One thing that we're going to be talking about. So the power, him receiving it, 4 months. This could be the big prison break that we've wanted to happen for so long, because it was inevitable. You know, going to Tartarus, breaking All for One out. Also breaking Stain out, too, because Stain's in there, and Stain definitely has to come back into the story because he's awesome, and we know that he's there. And we saw that little instance of him, like, eyeing up All for One when he was put into his cell. Oddly enough, that's cut out of the anime for some reason. Also, when Tsukuyoshi is when he's talking to All Might in the car, he says, yeah, I had an interview with Stain in the manga, but then that's cut out of the anime as well for some reason. So I hope that doesn't mean that Stain isn't coming back, but I don't know, that's a topic for another time. But if they do break into Tartarus, which, like I said, seems inevitable, then Shigaraki will receive All for One from All for One, probably along with all of his quirks, and then he'll gain some other new ones at the same time. So that's one of the possibilities. So the other possibility of this taking so long for the 4 months is that Yujiko still needs the time to, like, enhance and replicate the quirk destroying drug, because we know that he gave that to Yujiko, I think back in chapter 221 or 222, around that time too. So we still haven't touched on that yet. So maybe that's what's taking time for him to develop, because once they have, like, everyone has a whole bunch of these quirk destroying bullets, it's game over pretty much. So that's the possibility. And another thing that this whole 4-month timeline thing lines up with is the second semester of UA. So it's possible that they might be waiting for that, maybe, when everyone's all together at UA? I don't know. Maybe not, but there's so many things to speculate about here, but it all comes down to Tomura receiving a massive power-up. So like I said, it's either going to be the secret research that Yujiko is talking about, it's either going to be all of the high-end Nomus, or it's going to be All for One, giving All for One to Tomura and him receiving that, or it's the quirk-destroying bullets, or maybe it's the trigger, the quirk-enhancing substance, or it's all of that together, and Tomura is essentially more overpowered and pretty much unbeatable at this point. But let me know what you thought about this chapter. What do you think the power is? What do you think is going to happen in 4 months? And if you liked it, please give it a like. I also have a Patreon. It gives you access to a weekly Q&A. And if you haven't already, please subscribe as well. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.